Hey, black women. I want to talk to you guys about literacy for a minute, right? I actually saw a video of a black woman explaining that the reason a lot of black men don't have college degrees and they don't continue their education is because they can't read, right? They are basically illiterate, right? And I believe that, right? Now, them aside, when we look at how this society has changed, right? And we begin to look at the contributing factors we as black people and black families have also added to this crisis, we can only, in my opinion, blame ourselves. Because I remember when I was a little girl, my grandmother, who did work intermittently, right? But mostly was at home, right? Taught us to read. She taught us to read, write, know our name, our address, tie our shoes, put our clothes on, and be totally prepared for kindergarten before we got there, right? The way she taught us to read was basic stuff. We started out with the Dr. Seuss books, The Cat in the Hat, 1, 2, 3, Blue Fish, Red Fish, right? Thing 1, Thing 2, all that, right? Horton Caesar Who, all that. Then we went from memorizing those books and learning to read and phonetically sound out the words, right? With Hooked on Phonics. Y'all remember Hooked on Phonics? Okay. We did that. And then we went from reading those little kiddie books to my grandmother picking up a magazine and the New York Times, which used to come to our home on a regular basis. And we used to always get another newspaper daily called the Queen's Daily Word. All right. My grandmother would show us that reading was powerful. She used to say to us, it's magical, right? She would say all the words are the same no matter where you find them, right? We're little kids, so this was intriguing to us. So she showed us how the same word was in the Dr. Seuss book, the encyclopedia, the dictionary, the newspaper, and the magazine, and on the letters that she taught us to write to our cousins in other states. Okay. As a little kid, when you look at the volume or the size of something like an encyclopedia versus a newspaper and a magazine, you think, oh my goodness, I'm really the shit. I am able to read this big ass book and this grown magazine and the newspapers I see all the adults reading. For me, it was a serious accomplishment, okay? Then the other thing my grandmother did was, and I say grandmother because I don't know, for those of you who don't know, both my parents were functional junkies, right? My dad was a teenage kid that went to the Vietnam War and came back as a functional heroin addict. He turned my mother onto heroin, so both of them were pretty much like not giving out a lot of parental guidance, if you know what I mean. So during their drug addiction period and them being forced into rehab, my grandparents adopted us. So we went to live with them solely till our parents eventually got their shit together years later. By that time, we didn't want to go back with them. So anyway, what was I up to? Yeah, so we learned to read using all those things by simply understanding that the words are the same everywhere you go. And for a little child, that was a big thing. Then when she started to teach us addition, she used a whole lot of visual aids. Like, I don't know if they still have them today or you guys use them, but we started out with an abacus. If you don't know what that is that wooden item with a bunch of balls on it that you can move up and down a string to count. In addition to that, she used to use children's playing cards. Like, we used to have children playing cards like Old Maid and Big Fish, right? So she would use that deck of cards to teach us how to count, how to subtract, how to multiply, and do division. And she explained it to us in a way where she said, addition is multiplication many times over. Subtraction is division multiple times over. So the way she explained it to us and showed us, she even used Barbie dolls and you know, the little, my brother used to have that little army set with the little green plastic men in those poses and all that. She used all those things to teach us like what it is we needed to learn. And then when we started to write, she actually wrote out the letters but made them in dotted dash lines and dots for us to connect the broken lines and the dots together to form the letters. Then what else did she do? She used rubber bands to hold our hands into place as we wrote to learn cursive writing. Because back when I went to school in the 70s as a little girl, we were required to both write cursive and print. So we had to do those things. And that, if you have never, that takes a lot out of a little kid to learn how to write in cursive when you're so little. And then by 5th grade, they were teaching us to write in italics. So it was a little bit different when I was in school. I believe we were educated way more than some of the kids today, but that's besides the point, right? Hold on a second. I'm cooking food and that oven is starting to heat up. 1 minute.